Hello, I'm Eagle Gardens 1 on Instagram, and this is fucking talking shit with Eagle, episode 633. Man, do I've got a great guest for you this Saturday evening, Mr. John Green Bohdi from on Instagram. You want to tell us how you're doing and where we can find you?
Yeah, man, doing pretty good. Find me kind of all over the place, but at Green Bohdi on Instagram. Also, the real Green Bohdi is the backup. Also, at Green Bohdi on like LinkedIn and Twitter. You know, John Bays on Facebook, whatever. You can find me in all those spots. I'm pretty accessible, so that's what's up.
Well, I gotta tell you, I almost was late for my own show this evening. I rarely look back, but on like follow-up episodes, I try to like go back and listen to the episode prior to kind of, pick up where we left off. And man, I was enjoying the episode so much, I kind of lost track with time. On your Instagram, there, it kind of describes you as an artist, man. That literally does not do you justice, my friend. Adrenaline junkie, very spiritual guy, uh, very philosophical gentleman as well. So many great points of that episode that I was enjoying, my friend. You're very high-strung gentleman. What have you been up to this last year? It's been about a year since I spoke with you last.
I think the main thing that we've been rocking like on that I'm like psyched on is, well, a couple things. I have that well project, the Wells of Dharma project. It's been bumping, been pretty hyped on that. I think we've finished 57 wells. We're that with my partner Michael Abramson. He goes by Rev Diablo Insano on Instagram. But yeah, we started rocking that. It's just with a couple of my brothers out of India that I met first time I went to India. So stayed in touch with them, and we started this project where we're putting hand pump water wells, drilling anywhere from 75 to 100 plus feet, and just tapping into the water table there to get these villages water that they don't have any water. They don't have running water. They don't have any water. They don't have, it's pretty hectic over there, just in the sense of the caste system and how it works. So that's been a big thing that I've been really hyped on. I was just out in Ithaca, New York, where doing a project closely related to His Holiness the Dalai Lama's monastery, Namgyal Monastery. So we're doing a project that just broke ground for the Library Learning Center of His Holiness the Dalai Lama. And so we were out there for a week. This last Friday was a groundbreaking ceremony. So that's a huge project that, really happy to be a part of that. And so, yeah, those have been the two main things. I guess, there's been weed stuff happening too, so I guess we can talk about that too. But the stuff that's really cool is this philanthropic stuff, that's what I've been really hyped on.
That is an awesome cause right there. The wells, the water there, very important project. And I'm sure keeping you quite busy as well. So when you want to, let's remind them if they do want to help out with that project, how can they help out?
I'm really just hit up the Instagram Wells of Dharma at Wells of Dharma, or hit up my Instagram DM or Rev Diablo Insano. Any of them will get you to the spot. It's pretty easy. We're in the process of starting up the 5013C or 5013C, so the nonprofit. So that's like in the roll right now. So pretty hyped on that too. So make it a little easier for people to donate.
Thank you, my friend. Oh, sorry about that. When I spoke with you last time, you were just getting an amazing harvest or crop started for last year. How'd that turn out?
It was good, man. Everything went really good. On the growing end, everything's been been stellar, to be honest. Been been working with a new lighting company that I've been really fucking hyped on. So that's been cool. Fos, I don't know if you heard of them, but they're LED company, and I mean, hands down the best fucking lights there are out there that I've seen. I mean, maybe there's better, but I haven't seen any yet. And what we're doing, it's really nice to finally see the technology and everything of that genre of lights be where it's at. It's really cool.
Man, I've been talking a lot about lights lately. Moreover, like time, our light schedules. Uh, kind of kicking around the idea or discussing the idea that's been put forth lately by Joe Petty, uh, old school grower. Joe, Crazy Joe from Nepal, I believe is his handle from back in the day. And kind of talking about us overdoing it with the lights, especially now that we're, pushing these super strong LEDs. He's trying to say that we could be pushing our light schedules way back, pointing out in nature that we don't, even have 18-hour days and stuff like that. We're overdoing it, our power consumption with cannabis. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, following nature is always key. So when you look at the light cycles of nature, you're not seeing, what we're doing in the rooms. A lot of people, I don't know. I like to run a little shorter flower cycles and stuff. So I'm kind of into that.
What are you gonna put down this year? What are you growing for this season?
I'm starting to. I just finished a bunch of S1s of golden pineapple that I'm about to release. So that I'm pretty psyched on. I'm finding some males out of the Ancient Aliens, which is that GMO by Ancient OG. That one I'm gonna find some males and do a little project there. I got some Afghani one pollen from Michael from Coastal Seeds Kagi one. Also got some Helmand Afghani pollen. Just both from seeds he gave me. He gave me some Afghani, so we figured we'd do a little collab and throw some of that Afghani towards some of the OGs and some of this that kind of stuff, Yeah, but that's kind of what's right coming up. But just keep goofing around really on that end. I'm just trying to make herb that I like that's going to be different. It's like I don't know, man. Market's pretty interesting. What's out there is pretty interesting. Luckily, there's enough people that care about good herb to not grow what's easily sellable only.
Right on. You kind of had pointed out earlier in the week through the DMs that you'd recently gotten your IG back. How does a good person like yourself, how do they take away an Instagram page from somebody like yourself that's helping out the communities with water and an awesome dude in general? That's I see some pretty unfair things happen in cannabis to great folks, and so why do you think IG was so uncruel to you? Well, at least they gave it back, I guess. But why do you think?
I got hacked, and not necessarily hacked, but I got I got quite a few haters, and obviously I'm pretty big competition for a lot of people in some way or another in their mind or whatever it may be. So yeah, man, basically I got my IG got deleted for soliciting sexual services, graphic sexual content, and nudity. So that's the file I was like logged away in, you know. Luckily, I have
Right.
really good friends and people that care about me in one way or another, and they were able to do everything they could and got it back, even though it seemed near impossible. But they did it. So I guess when you are a good person and do the right thing and do your best to help others, the people that are selfish maggots, um, they can just be selfish fucks anyway, you know. So it's no big deal, you know. We don't pay any mind to them, you know.
Right on. Lost you there, brother. Yeah, I'm almost sorry I asked, but I'm glad you got it back. Like you said,
Yeah, no, it's
things
good, man.
come
It's
around
like,
full circle, brother.
what was cool is I didn't care either way. That's what's even cooler, you know. I mean, I cared because I'm supposed to care, and it's good for business, and it's good for optics, and people are so superficially oriented. If you don't got a big Instagram, that you're not cool and all that shit. But um, in all reality, it was a blessing, you know. To be honest, it just was a big blessing, and I mean, who wants to be anchored and entangled to a device or a superficial aspect of whatever continuum that's got them enslaved, you know, like it's fucking horrible, you know. So that, I guess, when I felt that, when I lost Instagram and I was like, went through this like week long kind of withdrawal kind of thing, you know, I was like, what the fuck, why do I feel like this, you know? I feel like, you know, if you eat a lot of ecstasy or something, like in a couple of days you feel like shit, you know. So it was like that kind of feeling, like shit feeling, but that shit lasted like a week, and I'm like, why am I feeling like this? I'm like, oh wow, I think it's like a chemical serotonin dopamine reaction from the screen and all the stuff that was going on there, you know. So I was like, fuck, man, hectic. So it's been really nice, you know, actually that part of it, because I'm not on my phone much anymore, you know. When I was on it a lot, now I have, you know, someone that I trust really deeply and, you know, cares about everything, that's kind of like handling that for me, all in my voice. I'm actually telling them exactly what to say and do whatever, but they're the one opening the phone, doing the thing and doing that for me because they fucking care about me, and I have more important things to do than you know, stare at a phone. So even though, so that being said, it's still happening, meaning it's still my voice, it's still me. I'm just not the one punching the key, you know. So it's kind of it was actually a big blessing, you know, actually. And then I started that other page, the Real Green Bohdi, because I was like, you never know. Really, the reason I have it like that is because, you know, my kid's name's Bohdi, you know, and he would be in the room like running around. He'd come out the room, you know, and he's like fucking 3 years old. I'm the Real Green Bohdi, you know. And you know, so that's kind of why I started at that, because in case like, and that's why the first couple posts have him in it, in case he needs a Instagram in the future for some reason, you know, we'll like kick him off or start him off, you know. So you can have a fucking weed Instagram. Might go over good in high school.
Right on. So, looking back at that episode, some of my favorite parts of that episode were some of your stories about psychedelics. Basically, we spoke about ayahuasca, and I was hoping at that point, or I told you that at that point, some people in chat were pointing me in the direction where I could try some. And unfortunately, I hate to report to you, I have not yet come across that chance yet. But
That's
I
probably
would.
better. I said that's probably better.
It's probably better. I don't know. I would definitely like to open that door and see, good or bad, what's on the other side for me.
Well, yeah,
Whatever
but
it has to
like
say.
what I mean by better is it's like, you know, a lot of people slanging ayahuasca in the States and all that. It's pretty hokey, man. So, versus something that's more traditional, that's going to take some time, and it takes a lot of conditions for it to come together. And, like when I first tried it, I went down to Peru, but like the only thing that was really I could find informational on it was on Arrowwood's vaults, and pretty much it said, oh yeah, there's potential you're gonna die, blah blah blah, all this stuff. I'm like, wow, that sounds kind of sick. So, um, I went to Peru for it. But even there, man, it's like a fucking needle in a haystack to find the real deal. So yeah, if you ever want to have that kind of trip, you should just like go through us. Then you can at least get the one you're looking for. At least it's going to be good medicine, and you're not going to have some weirdo shaman try to like bang your girlfriend or something, or whatever. I'm just saying, not to be so you know dry about it, but you know what I mean. gets kind of kooky in the realm of like urban shamans.
Well, I'll have to take your word for it. The one thing that I didn't get to witness in the last year was another guest, Meow Flower, who had the opportunity. Uh, he, I got to speak with him like the day after, and obviously with talking with him nightly, you know what I mean? You get to know somebody, and seeing him come out the other side from that experience was, you could see how life changing it was for him. And it kind of just made me more or less want to venture down that road again. And, again, hopefully through a reliable source, but I would take that opportunity if I come across that bridge, that's for sure.
Well, like what I got to say about like most psychedelics, entheogens, things like that. My experience personally has been it's more of affirmation than telling you something new. You know, like most of these plants and most of these things, deep down inside, you're a stupid fuck. So then it's like it tells you that, and then you're like, yeah, man, I am kind of a stupid fuck. I know I'm selfish there. I know I'm selfish here. I know I'm selfish there. I know I'm lazy there. We really know that. So like really what it comes down like from my own experience, so maybe it's different for other people, but it just showed me that, yeah, man, you are lazy, and you are doing things that you shouldn't be doing. So stop doing those things and stop being so fucking lazy, and work harder and be cooler and be wiser and be more compassionate, and just keep doing your best to be more like that. It's like, and everything how you think and see is like it was mostly affirmations, because I already knew that I was like um not the best person I can be, or I wouldn't be on a path that was attempting to be a better person. So if I thought I was all good, then I would just be all good. I wouldn't need to go to Peru or go to India or go to do all this stuff and try to drink all these plants and do all this thing just to be less of a piece of shit. Kind of is really what it comes down to. Like what was cannabis for me? I was like asshole medicine. It helped me not be so much of an asshole, when I was younger. And so like, what's ayahuasca? It's like that times 1,000. Because like it's not like, oh man, I think kind of feel bad for talking to that person like that, like weed. It's like, oh my God, I think I'm going through a hell realm. I'm fucking dying right now. I wish I wouldn't have did that thing. Meaning, even if it was just yell at someone, because I don't do bad shit. Like when I was younger, I used to be kind of rowdy and beat people up, and like, I wasn't a bully, but if there was a bully around, I was down to throw down with them, kind of vibe. So then what I realized is you kind of become a bully then. Because most bullies that act like that, they're kind of pussies, they don't like, it's all an act, and once you realize that, it's not fair anymore, even if they're big, they're tough, they act all tough, they're fucking push people around, they act like that, most of those dudes are like, they can't throw down, they don't have a jaw of steel, they haven't been socked, like really socked up, so it's like, when I was younger, I used to be really rowdy and get down like that, so like even then it's like, oh, I thought I was doing a good deed, oh, I'm gonna beat this bully's ass, then I realized I was still being an asshole, when it comes down to it, and the plants, the beautiful thing about the plants, they were able to show me not just the gross level stuff like that, like of course you shouldn't be fighting, and of course you shouldn't be like, you realize the dimensional kind of variation of humans, even in that, especially in that realm, because it's really like so you get to feel things that aren't that a lot of people don't get to feel about yourself and others, and the plants show you that too, really like kicks your ass kind of, like the waves also show you that when you surf, the mountains show you that when you climb. But if you don't do things like that where your life's on the line, you don't get to have that vision of who you actually are, in my opinion. If you never been your ass drowned to death by waves or something, or almost died on the mountain, or like face someone like trying to kill you or trying to like knuckle up with you like solid on the street, like you don't know who you really are. That's kind of how I look at it, but like you have that experience and you see who you are when you're fucking like looking death right in the face, then it's like, so then also the plants ayahuasca can give you that, you get to see who you are when you think you're going to die, when you drank too much poison and you're like, everything in you think you're gonna die, and you're like, oh my God, I'm fucking dying. I wish I wouldn't have said that, did this. I wish I would have gave my parents a hug. I wish I wouldn't have talked to them like that. I wish I would have and then you have these things because you really actually think you're gonna fucking die, because that's the feeling it induces sometimes, and then you're having these really crazy psychedelic experiences as you're like facing these karmic imprints, and so meaning imprints from your causes and conditions, so that shit gets real when you're on ayahuasca, it's real when you're on LSD, like for me, like I eat too much acid before in the a bunch of times, and like every time I ate too much acid, it get kind of scary, like it's like, fuck, all the little things that you did wrong don't seem so little, like they seem really fucking big, and then the whole world's like, like I've had acid trips where like all the state of humanity, like survival, was based upon my karma and if I was good or not, so like if I like, so like since I had done things wrong and treated people poorly, I thought like I had fucked it up for all of humanity, and that was why like all of the human realm was like doomed, like I've had those kind of acid trips, almost kill myself, so anyway, like I guess it just depends on how much you eat and how much you care,
I can't imagine the trip of having the fate of humanity resting on my or your karma. That would be
talk about an ego trip, bro.
That would be a
oh man,
nasty reflection of everything, wouldn't it?
I mean, it's really like that, isn't it? Like if you look at a microcosm, macrocosm reality, like the whole state of the world rests on our capacity of realization, like meaning all our suffering is really based upon our perception. I haven't found another place that I suffer actually. unless I'm focusing on myself, like, so if I'm focusing on myself or my perspective of my perception of the story that I'm creating off of what I'm viewing in front of me or what's happening to me, what I mean? That's a lot of breaches in the puzzle from how it is to how I think it is, So like, why should I believe that story when it already went through fucking 26 different fucking patterns of recreation? It sounds like scary, And so like when you look at it, really all your suffering comes from all of that, all of what you paint on reality, meaning how you perceive reality is one thing, but then how you think about it, you recreate it, all that's where you suffer, on how you're attached or how you're averted to the reality, It really is only those two things, and then that goes what attachment aversion turns into lust or hatred, so it's like everything's based in those two forms of ignorance, so what are those two things? Ignorance, attachment, aversion, all based in expression of karma, then perception and how you perceive reality, And so that's the only place you're going to suffer. So if you don't create this fucking story of things, then where else are you going to suffer if you can be in a flow state mind, aware, not like attached, not like averted, but just like experiencing the reality freely. I mean, I haven't found that you suffer in that area, I only found I suffer from when I'm like holding on tight or pushing it away, so the plants give you a real good like push there, like give you a jump start. It's like a fucking shortcut, if you have the information to analyze your experience correctly, that's really huge. That's why for us we use Buddhist psychology and philosophy and that dharma, because we haven't found something more clean, something more clear, something more direct, because for us, we can't believe that like, oh, it's because of God, because as a Buddhist, you don't actually believe in God. So then you can't believe it, so then what's it come from? Well, it comes from the condition, all the other conditions coming together is what things happen, So all the conditions of something then manifest, like if you look at myself, fuck man, I needed all the conditions of my mom and dad to come together and their mom and dad and mom and dad and mom and dad, all just so I can just be. And then they need, so like when you just so they can like get down, and then from there it was like, damn, it's quite a journey to get here. That was a lot of conditions. So if I want to just take onus of the responsibility for it, I'd kind of be an ignorant idiot, when there's like so many infinite conditions that actually gave me the opportunity to experience this reality, So the plants, I feel like give you an ability to see that. And for us, the Buddhist information gives you the most clean and clear way to explain what you're experiencing, And so for myself, what I've found through the last 20 years of, serious study and meditation and contemplation is that I'm the fucking problem, for everything. I haven't found a spot where I'm not the problem if I'm having a problem, It's always me actually that is the fucking problem, Isn't the other person. They're in their own fucking dream, They don't have anything to do with what's inside my mind, Only I'm the guy that has the problem with what's going on. So when you start to then deal with that, you can take responsibility for being a stupid fuck, I'm like, oh shit. I can't even like, one time I was with Eric Nuckshots was over earlier. I was telling the story. I was so high on acid, man. I thought I was like born again Jesus, thought I was like born again, like devil spawned. Like, I didn't know which one I was. I was like the top tier of one of them, you know, the most bad or the most good. But I was like so meltdown and LSD, like fucked up, you know. I couldn't even talk, you know, couldn't even make a fucking sentence, you know. So I was like, oh man, chosen one, can't even talk. So it was like, you know, good slap in the face. Like, are you really that self-centered, you know? Or you like your God complex getting that real right now? Like, come on, dude, get a grip on yourself, you fucking stupid. You know, so that's kind of like at least how I deal with myself, you know. And for me, the plants like really help put that all in check, because you can't lie to yourself really, and the plants give you the ability to be honest with yourself, I think, in a way that's, you know, you can see it. People that drink a lot of booze and smoke weed, they're like, oh, I get anxiety, you know, I can't really smoke, you know, it gives me anxiety. Oh yeah, because you like recognize you're being a fucking lame by drinking too much, you know. Like, or something, I don't know, that's just my kind of like I have a aversion towards people that drink too much, you know, because my kid's mom, you know, alcoholic, she didn't have her shit together. So I'm like a single dad with the kid. He's upstairs, you know, waiting for, you know, when we get done, we'll finish the night out, you know. So you know what I mean? It's like vibe. Even though I'll have a drink and all that, I don't mind at all alcohol like that. But you know, if you're gonna do things, you should like my dad said, you know when it's a problem, you know, when it's a problem for your life, you know, when you can't hold a fucking job, when you can't hold your life together, you know. So when it's a problem, it ain't a problem until it's a problem, you know. So, you know, I'm like, my dad was massive alcoholic, you know. But when they took care of him back then in the military, you know, they like, you know, like they go down to the hospital or whatever, you know, it was, I don't know. Get him in there, and these two big security guards come in behind him, lock the door. The captain's in there, you know. They shut the door behind him, and he's kind of like, "Oh, what the fuck's happening?" You know. Captain's like, "Oh, Mr. Bays, you know why you're in here?" He's all, "No, no, I really don't." You know, he's all, "Because you're a fucking alcoholic, and you're not leaving until you're not." And they like locked him up in there for 3 months, you know, and like, you know, brainwashed you good, you know. So he hadn't had another sip of alcohol since he won't even smoke weed. You know, he's like, "Fucking, I'm an alcoholic. I can't even smell." Like they had him like hooked up to like electrode shit, like Clockwork Orange shit or something. You know, I don't know. Anyway, but back then they like took care of you if you had issues. You know, meaning they did whatever it took to get you on the right path. It seemed like, you know. I don't know what happened, but my dad never tell me, but he just told me that story, and it's part of the story. And then he ain't never had a drink again. And I think I was 2 years old then, you know, 1 year old, 2 year old, you know. So, you know, booze is an interesting thing because they slang it so hard and so like nonchalantly, but man, that shit fucks you up, you know. You know, it is like you know, people get so wasted they fucking black out. Like I have this cop when I was doing a lot of this rules advisory stuff for the state and everything. So one cop had this story. He's all, you know, it's kind of like this, you know. You have someone smoke a lot of weed, they take like 10 bong hits, jump in the car, kind of like be really sketchy, look over their shoulder a bunch, you know, make sure nobody's coming. They come out all kind of slow, you know, cautious, go down to the stop sign, maybe stop a little shy, 5 feet shy of the line, you know, like be really like cautious, make sure they don't fucking blast through, you know, cruise on out, going kind of slow, you know. That's what weed people do, you know. He said, you know what a fucking drunk does? Drunk drinks a bottle of fucking booze, you know, bottle of whiskey, jumps in the fucking car, rips out the fucking back of the, you know, out the driveway, runs through the fucking 60 miles an hour through the fucking stop sign, smashes a fucking kid on a bike, you know. He's all different vibe, you know. Fucking cop, you know. It's like, you know what I mean? Anyhow.
Shout out to you for being the single dad. It's not easy. It's not an easy thing. I was raised by a single father myself, and I have nothing but respect for all the hoops he had to jump through, all the things he gave up. You know what I mean? To keep me fucking safe, keep me fucking off the streets, all that good shit. So I have a lot of respect for, the single fathers out there, And again, there's a lot of piece of shit fathers out there that just won't step up to that plate as far as that too. So
Sure, it's a fucking blessing, bro. Like, God, man, it's so sick, dude. Get to do mother and father thing. It's fucking epic.
What are you smoking on this evening when you're done with your hit there?
What am I smoking?
Yeah,
I'm smoking this like old school hash. I don't know if you can see. Let's see if I can flip it around here.
What I do appreciate about your smoking method there is the glass rod. Not a lot of people, know about the glass rod or use the glass rod these days for their extracts.
Oh, dude, that's the only way I smoke. I smoke bong hits like that too. Straight up.
Right on. I've never tried it for bong hits, but I have used it for extracts.
No other way to smoke bong hits, bro. What I do is I like load, like, you pull a chunk of the nug, just put it in the bong, torch that thing red hot, and just fucking roast that fucking nug, the whole thing all red and cherry. And that's kind of how I take bong hits. Not kinda. That's how I take bong hits.
Sounds like the solar hits almost, basically.
Exactly,
you
bro.
know what I mean?
Exactly. Exactly like that. Yeah, man.
Tough and Path in chat wanted me to ask you about your reflections on the Tibetan Book of the Dead. You any thoughts on that?
Yeah. We really gotta, live our life well, because, really that book talks a lot about what happens after, but really all what happens after is based off what's happening now, And so, in all reality, there's no really now, because through the truth of impermanence, and as we see even on an atomic level, everything's in a continual flux, there's no stagnant anything, so really it's like what's happened as the past, as the now would be more like what's happening, and then the future would be like what's yet to happen, but the truth is there's no now. Anyway, fuck, I don't know where I was going with that, to be honest, but present moment, Tibetan situation, Tibetan Book of the Dead. All right, that's where we were at. Cool, sick. Yeah, no. So, yeah, really. So it all is based off of our experience, of our living experience. Most of what happens in the Tibetan Book of the Dead, most humans on Earth aren't going to be aware of that process. So the part that we can be aware of is what we're doing. So that's kind of really my insight on that. In our reality and what we practice, there's 10 stages of death. Each one of those stages are based off of a certain element dissolving in our etherical, physiological connection, and it gives us a sign. Most people are only aware of the last sign, which is a clear light mind, or the clear light at the end of the tunnel, because it's like the 9th stage is a black near attainment, they call it. 10th stage, clear light mind. So then when I was realizing that, that it doesn't matter what your belief is at the end, because you hear these people that believe Christian or whatever, oh, I saw a white light at the end of the tunnel, and then something spoke to me and I came back, Well, in Buddhism, it's like ninth stage is the, black entertainment, 10th stage is clear light mind. So I'm like, that's close enough for me to kind of infer that same thing happens for everyone. Your understanding and realization of the experience, that's a different story, Um, for me in the last couple of years, I've been knocked out a few times and by IV for surgery or different things, um, and I did a practice in and out of those. So that was pretty cool to see the change from first to last, and how I was able to stabilize certain vitals, and my continuum of mind was, unbroken for the most part, in and out of the surgery and anesthesia. So I was pretty hyped on that. Um, but during, it was a complete fucking blip. So, you know what I mean? Like, what you got to realize is it's kind of like more a karmic continuum, meaning so many actions all coming together that just like when you fall asleep at night, you wake up, you really don't, and you wake up in the morning, you really don't, know why, what, where, this, that. You just trust that's what's going to happen because it happens so many times, but the reality is like, when I'm getting anesthesia, I'm like, oh, I could fucking die. So I better do something that's going to be a focused practice. So if I do die, then, I don't die like a chump. So, I mean, when I realize when I come out of the anesthesia, I'm like, blah, 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 talking about exactly, like, yeah, just, it's very interesting, So that being said, um, as for the death and what happens after and Bardo and all that, being aware of that really crucial because we're supposed to think continually of the imminent nature of death, that it can happen at any moment, and that being the fuel of why you do practice, why you're supposed to practice, like, you know someone with their hair on fire tries to put it out with that much tenacity and veracity that you're like doing spiritual practice. That's how much you should try. So it's kind of funny, from a lot of like Western perspective, what they think spiritual practice is and how much they do or don't do, and um it's it makes a lot of sense, but the reality is to gain any type of true spiritual realization takes a lot of fucking work, a lot of fucking work and a lot of commitment and a lot of study, so you can, or at least have amazing teachers to tell you exactly what to do if you don't do the study. But most it takes lots of study so you can understand every fucking detail of every aspect of a practice, to where you understand what you're trying to do as you sit there and visualize and create different aspects of enlightened states of mind, and focus on that one pointedly until hopefully it rubs off, so when you think of it like that, like, it's a few and far between gang that does that shit, because like I don't know too many people, and I'm around a lot of really good people with a lot of really fucking amazing hearts, but other than the monks and that community that I, with His Holiness Monastery, I don't know too many people that do a lot of practice of, like study and meditation and seated, focused and trained, unbroken oral transmission kind of practices, you know sadly, so it makes sense why they say that, like, this kind of stuff's degrading, the Dharma is degrading, you know it's all kind of going away, and you see why, because people are more hyped on what people think about them, or what kind of car they got, or if they got a Tesla or some bullshit, or something that if like they help people, it's like, I don't know, man. I thought like back in the day, like true street cred was like if you help people and how good, tough, how like strong your jaw was. I thought, those are I thought the two cool things. But you know what I mean, times change. So, you know, um, anyhow, what are we talking about? Tibetan Book of the Dead, Bardo and stuff. Yeah, man. Fuck. Be a good person, because that's one thing for sure we can have on lock. And in this realm, we know for sure that we can spend our energy and time helping people and doing good things, We for sure have control of that, because the Bardo, man, most of us, we're not going to have jack shit control of what happens after we blip out this life. Sorry to say. It's a sad truth, but we're kind of fucked if we don't really do what we have to here, to think that we're going to have some type of freedom when we die if we don't like master something here. Like, I don't know, man. That's why I'm just like, oh, I'm not going to have much control there, so I'm just going to like do the best I can. So like maybe if I go to hell, then at least I can bring water. You know what I mean? Bring a little water, because like shit's hot in hell, but I ain't fucking scared of hell, but I would like to bring some water if I went, that'd be sick, dude. You'd be the OG motherfucker with water in hell, the hot hell with water. You'd be fucking killing it, So, and people be hyped, because it's fucking, they describe in Buddhism, they have like, in Christianity, I think they have one hell, right? In Buddhism, they have like 17 hells. So it's like, oh, there ain't no God, but we got 17 hells. It's like hectic, anyhow. So, you know what I mean? It's like,
so would water be the right choice to serve you in all 18 hells?
I don't know, man. Water, I heard water in some of the hells. There's like some of the, oh, maybe that's a Hungry Ghost realm. Yeah, with water, when it goes down their throat, it's like molten lava. Oh shit. Yeah, no, man, we got it good here in this realm. And that's what they say. They say that the human realm is a very special one, because we have this ability, right? This ability to talk and be aware, talk about this kind of stuff, be aware and talking about it even, you know what I mean? Very unique, very special, they say, And they say they have a fortunate human rebirth, which is a rebirth that's able to like have a good body, have a good look, have a good thing, be around high level teachers, be able to understand all that information and also enact the information by helping others and being aware and doing these things, They say that it's so fucking rare to have a fortunate human rebirth, which is that they compare it to a turtle that's swimming around all the oceans in the world, comes up for air for every 30 minutes or so. And then there's a yoke that like ox, like pulls a plow with, the thing that's floating around all those oceans too. For that turtle to synchronistically stick its head through that yoke, they say is easier than to have a fortunate human rebirth, So if you have one and get one and you don't use it right, you for sure ain't gonna ever get one again, basically, because you fucking blew it, but you kind of put the statistical format to it, like, oh, you mean that thing that's impossible, a fortunate human rebirth, more impossible than impossible? Oh, okay, sick. So that's why if you get one of these rebirths that you're aware, you know what I mean, where you can be aware of yourself, it's very valuable, So if you don't want to blow it, that's why you got to like utilize it really, really well, And really, that's kind of the core, like the Tibetan Book of the Dead really is. It's talking about the different stages of death and everything, but the fact is, who cares? It's like we're alive. Let's like help people. For sure, if you'll have a good death if you help people. That for sure. The afterbirth Bardo stuff will be better if you helped people when you were alive. Like I 100% promise. And so I guess that's for me. That's what I more know about the Book of the Dead. Don't get me wrong, when my dog Hazy died and I'm like doing mantras for you know what I mean? I like played like the recording of the Tibetan Book of the Dead as after she died, I'm not like saying, I'm not like discarding it as stupid or anything. It's like fucking amazing and like something that should be high on the bookshelf and the top part, um but I'm saying as a person, as normal people, like what we can do really is do good work right now, and focus more on having good meditation and good mental training and focus so we can be aware of our body and our energies, and we can do that quite simply, breath focus is quite easy, but most people don't do those kind of things. So that's the first step of meditation, is having one point of concentration on breath. Once that can be achieved well, then you just expand that into more complex styles of meditation and different yogas, then hopefully everyone's goal as a practitioner is to have a good death practice and to be able to be aware during your death. My good buddy Logan, he's like, I became friends with him when he was 18, so it's kind of mentored him a little bit, and he's like my brother, really love the guy. But I talk about death a lot, and he's like, man, he's all gives a fuck about death, he's like, you don't want to do the one thing like fucking a coward, the thing that every single other human on earth ever will go through, you know what I mean, and ever has gone through. It's like, you got to take that kind of stuff, like that's a one thing we all got in common, every single one of us, so seems like we're pretty much the same then, so that being said, our life that we're living is really going to be the juice of that, that's why now, these different things. And my buddy Mike, he was in the military and stuff, and had a rough one in there, because as a good soldier, you do what they tell you to do, and you do it fucking with dignity and honor and loyalty and all that stuff, and some of the things that you have to do probably aren't the best, and you regret it, especially with our understanding of the government and how things work and all that stuff. You're like, fuck, man, this wasn't just, anyhow. So doing these kind of different philanthropic endeavors of helping others, you can like really dissolve a lot of that past trauma, and I think no other thing that I've found can dissolve past traumas than really actually like helping others, and really devoting yourself to an altruistic state of mind, and that style of living in all your actions, and all your speech, like, so even really like, that's why I do a lot of talk about intentional horticulture and this kind of thing, and honestly, it's about that, really. It's about utilizing our relationship with like wisdom plants to enhance, elevate, and cultivate a more altruistic state of mind, to where we can take that out for all beings, and then we work with this plant that we care and love and cherish, to hopefully heal and help, and create peace of mind in others. But then you can start doing that in all your practices and all your actions and all your relations and all your communications, with everyone you're talking to. You can it can all be focused in that state of bodhicitta, or that altruistic mind that really is, you know, devoted and engaged and intended to help evolve and, create freedom from suffering for everyone, as like that continuum, so we can do that with everything, it doesn't have to be, so from my perspective, if we could do that in all of our day and all of our night, but like all of what we're trying to accomplish in our action, I think that death ride through the Bardo and that whole Tibetan Book of the Dead thing, it's gonna be like fucking. You'd be like, whoa, full on, bro. Like, hyped. You know, who fucking cares then? Because really, they have this. There's this saying by this great master Shanti Deva. Um, for as long as space remains, for as long as sentient beings remain, until then, may I too remain to dispel the miseries of the world. So and then I don't hear in that verse like, "Let me be born in heaven so I could be free of suffering forever." I just don't hear that there. I hear like, "Let me keep coming back to this super shit because I have courage, and I'll help, because what am I gonna do? Leave all my family here, all these beings like." What about all your dogs that you had in your life, that were there for you, fucking down, would have died for you in any second? You gonna leave all them, like even them, but then all the brothers, the sisters, the family, the mothers, the fathers, all the things that like sacrificed their life for you, so many times you like leave it like a coward, So I don't know, for me, I'm like, gotta like ride or die with this ship, because this human relation with this earth realm is pretty fucking rare, so I'm like, I'm gonna ride or die this thing, till the wheels fall off, even if it's like Mad Max style. I have my fucking like AR-15, I'm ready to rock, because like that's life, I'm very devout Buddhist and don't want to kill anybody, but if someone like endangers my family, like I'll kill them, and that's life, so it doesn't matter, even my teacher said, I said, what do you do, like, is this getting kind of awkward, how, to what level should I protect Bodhi? He said, you protect him to whatever level you need to where you guys are the ones walking away. I said, all right, sick, that's easy, and that's real, because he said good people need to survive, that's kind of what we're faced with, in the future. So I don't know, stony ass rant, huh?
Oh man, I love this episode. This is one of the things that I loved about the last episode, my friend. So, I agree with a lot of things you said. I'm definitely headed down the Buddhism uh phase of life myself. And I have been the last few years, ever since, what started me down the mindful path was a strong psychedelic trip on some mushrooms. But even before that, young as a young child, I kind of had this feeling that, you know, there was a life cycle we were repeating somehow, and which is kind of backed up by, the Buddhism stance that I have today. So uh I'm earlier on, you said it's a rarity that anybody remembers, the rebirth in the past life. And I think that's because if my proper understanding of the path is to kind of keep repeating it until you've lived the a full, perfect, peaceful, mindful life, basically, and then you were moved on to something greater. And then at that point, you could move on to the next realm, or you could choose to stay back for some reason and purposely be reborn. And then it's at that point that you kind of are reborn and remember, the point, you know what I mean, or your reason for rebirth. Uh, you find any truth into my theory or thought pattern here on
Well, I mean that from a Buddhist perspective, they basically, it's all karmic, So we have all these subtle karmic realities. We have this latent karmas. We have karmas from this life, karmas from past lives. All of those karmas, our mind, our subtle mind, it's like a momentum of a continuum, and that manifests through its relation and all these kind of aspects. So we're going to keep kind of facing the same issues because that's until we overcome those karmas, those kind of conditions. So that's the way it is from a Buddhist perspective, and we'll keep being reborn all in the same continuum. So that's why it kind of, if we don't overcome these certain karmas, that will keep running into those same issues, same problems.
Is that why we're kind of born basically blind? So
I mean,
we're not focused on the path or on the past, and you know what I mean. Focus on just on fixing that end of it instead of being more mindful for the whole path.
I'm not really sure, man. I do know that like the babies are like really pure, and I know that like when they're young, they're really close to you know are really close to something really special, at least that's how I've seen it, and then if you what my experience with Bohdi is trying to keep that purity and let them discover life and living in all the ways they can with that purity kind of continuing, instead of it being kind of stamped out and whatever, we I'm 47, so I had my mom's Korean, my dad military guy, it's kind of rowdy around the house, like if you didn't do things perfect, I'm the only child, if you didn't do it perfect, it was like you're a stupid fuck, so anyhow, different style now, I mean, I'm still super strict and all that stuff, but he gets a lot of love and a lot of support in a lot of different ways. From, oh, you want to play piano? Here's two, here's a different level, blah, blah, blah. You do the thing, fucking loves it, jams out all the time, kills it, sings, fucking rocking. I'm fucking hyped. Whatever, anything, everything, anything creative. Like, let's go, be a selfish fuck. Hell no, and so like, even with him, like we just like conditioned him with Adventure Time, and that was the cartoon he was able to watch, and so if you're selfish on there, you're like heckled and treated really poorly, if and the whole basis of the show has a very, from my perspective, like Buddhist based philosophy, and how they deal, it's very how you're supposed to deal. You deal selflessly, you help others, you do it in a kind of community family based format, that's basically judged by everyone, as a collective kind of. So that kind of underlying philosophy is, it was really helpful for parenting for me, because I was like, I would utilize that. Hey, how would Finn act, how would Jake, how would they deal in the situation? Would they be little selfish fuckers, or, would they like help and be kind, and, and you think about it, and it's just like, it really worked a lot, so I don't know, gotta use every tool you can, I guess. So that's what I did.
Yeah, most definitely. I tried to spoil my children as well. But looking back at one of the things I kind of look back at it, I wish I would have could have given them more, and in hindsight myself, and I wish I could have gave them the most important thing. And again, time didn't teach me that until later in life. You know, that time was the most important thing, flat out. There's nothing more has more value than time. Your time with your child, your time having those great moments. You know, here I've tried to explain that to my child as they're growing older. And one, I'm actually, since though one of the major changes from the last year, my friend, is I found out recently I'm going to be a grandfather, and soon next month my first
Sick, dude.
grandson. And
You're a
what
young
I'm
guy,
one
too, bro.
50. I'm older than you, brother.
Holy shit. Sick, dude. You're killing it, bro.
I appreciate that, man.
Fuck yeah, dude.
But
I thought you were
you
younger
know,
than me.
no
That's
way.
epic.
No way.
Hey, what
So
time is it?
yeah. Oh, it is 12:44 my time. I'm not sure what that is yours.
I think we're
But
gonna.
I experience the time thing with them is, that is the most important thing. Don't necessarily focus on material bullshit. Give them, feed their dreams, but necessarily don't make them work for it. Make them have the fire for it as well. But you know, time, that was the most important thing, the most lesson learned in hindsight for me. Uh,
For sure,
how we
dude.
doing that time? Since we're
Oh
on
no,
that,
speaking
I
of that,
realize.
I'm gonna go kick it with my kids since it's we just talked about that. I think it's been
I don't blame you.
I think we've been on over an hour, so getting kind of late
Right
here.
on, brother.
I
I'm
really
grateful for, another night of hanging out with you, some more great stories. And I completely understand, as I just said, there's nothing more important than the opportunity you have right now. That with the child, and that's it's the future, my friend. As that time now is the future. So
sure,
I
man.
greatly respect that. So yes,
Yeah,
go
well, I
spend some
really
time with your.
appreciate it, and it's sick. And anytime, man, I'm always down to do this. So it's really just a great pleasure and really an honor just to share perspective with a different crowd of people that I'm able to communicate with in my daily life. So it's always a big blessing.
Yeah, and again, thank you for your time. One final thing before you go. One reminder that the Zoom link that you have is always good come hang out anytime you want. By the
Oh,
way,
really?
you
Okay.
know, yeah. So
I'll
it's an
come troll
anytime
you
thing.
sometime when you're like in the middle of a podcast. I'm just kidding.
Well, I would I'd be open to the opportunity. So with that being said, there are panel shows too that other people would like to hang and pick your brain, and so it is good for that. But one corny ending to what has been an awesome episode is, can I get a sound bite from you, my friend? Basically, what I'm looking for, my version is, hey, this is Eagle, and I'm on fucking Talking Shit with Eagle, episode 633. You can put whatever you want before or after that. I'd be honored for whatever I get.
Yo, this is Green Bohdi on Talking Shit with Eagle, episode 633. Always a fucking sick one. Such a blessing and an honor to be kicking it and talking shit with the man.
Thank you for such an awesome soundbite, my friend. And again, thank you so much for your time. You have a great night, and I look forward to speaking to you again with you sometime in the near future.
Epic. My pleasure. Thank you so much, bro.
For the rest of you guys, hopefully you will join me in the Weed Nerd world here in a few minutes. So fill your tray, empty your bladder, and I will see you guys in a few minutes. Don't forget to do something nice for somebody. Random acts of kindness do save lives. If you're not going to follow over to the Weed Nerd world, please remember that. But for the rest of you, I will see you in a few. Thank you again, Green Bohdi.